Okay. So we're gonna work first on how do I eliminate bad spots. Now, dust spots and things like that, there's actually specific filters for that. We can go try. Let's look in filters and noise. So here's dust and scratches. It is a filter. So we can pull this back a little bit. It's in preview. So here's what happens. Okay, that eliminates everything. So clearly that filter is not going to eliminate little marks, because what it does is it softens up the focus of the whole image. That's why when we go to these, so you can see there, it gets mushier every time. So with something that big, it's not going to go away. So the best technique we can use is something called the cloning tool. Now, the cloning tool, when I first saw it, seemed a little odd. It was kind of strange because what it does is it clones very specifically. It's this one right here. It looks like a stamp. It's the clone stamp tool. Okay. And there it's showing you what it does. It copies things exactly. So what I'm going to try to do is copy at first this building exactly. So let me choose the clone stamp. All right, now the first thing you have to do when you use the clone stamp is you have to have a target, which is you have to say, what am I going to copy? So let me just give you an example. I'll do it up here. So when I hold down the Option key, it's Alt key in Microsoft. Okay, you'll see, hopefully, there you see the icon looks like a target, right? And if I click on that, I can click on that. Then if I come down here, I can copy that whole building. Now, I'm going to Command Z, because what we can also see here is there are a couple things happening. Number one is opacity. So that's why it wasn't solid. So what I'll do first is I'll just take that to 100%. Now, if I paint it, you can see it's painting that whole part of the city. Now, that's not super useful for what I want to do to make that go away, but at least you can see how it copies. Now, another thing is the way it operates. You see that's called a brush. So that's the brush size. What I want to do, and that's right here, right now, it is only 17 pixels large. I can increase its size. I can make it hard or soft. I could go with some preset sizes, but you can see it's now much bigger. So now if I clone it, I do it like in 3 swaths that way. Okay? So Command Z. So now we know how the tool works. And what it's showing us there is what it will copy to that spot. That's what we're looking at in that window. Now that's not useful for me. And number two, while it could cover that circle, I'm going to be a little crazier and see what happens. While it can cover that circle, it's not that building. Okay, so if I did it, it's just a mess, right? So I replaced one mess with another. So let me target the building itself. Sorry, I'm thinking about this, how I want to target it. All right, so I'm going to push the Option key. You can see it's there. Now I've targeted that. And if I did that, okay, I made it go away, but that's not realistic. Okay, so what I'm going to do it better, I'm going to undo, is I'm going to make it smaller. That's why it was smaller. Okay, let's take a look. Maybe a little bigger than that. Okay, so I'm now going to reset my target as the edge of this building. Actually, I'm gonna do it right here. Now, if I bring that up here, look at that. Okay. Isn't that kind of amazing? It's amazing to me. All right, I'm gonna have to fix some things, but I have brought up the edge of that building. And in fact, I can take it right up to that step that I've done that. Now, I'm gonna go with something smaller. All right, and my brain's going somewhere else. Let me target it, Option Alt. I can put a ridge in there. It's all okay. And so I'm kind of hand painting here. And even with those ridges, it still has a more natural look. All right, what I'm also going to do is, I don't like the white remnants. I'm going to make it even a little smaller. And if I want to, I can do Command Plus and we can zoom in some more and really see the pixels. But you can, like here, I can Alt and I'll go there and I'll get rid of some of that white. That doesn't look very good. Okay, I'll actually target it there. I can keep that line in place. Okay, so I can target here. Then I can make some of that go away. I can target here. And what it does is, from the first time you click, it determines the distance between the target and where you're painting. But it always holds on to that target. So, and because it's like the target moves with you. So if I want to do something on that second, on the more upper area, I have to reset my target because it holds that distance. So what happens is that distance, this is whatever it copies. Okay. If I want to do something here, I need to reset the target and then it'll hold that distance. Hopefully that makes some sense. Okay, so there's the option. Now I come up here, I'm copying that first roof, and you see it shows me the crosshair of where that color is coming from. Okay, I'm actually going to go up here for a little better angle. Ooh, nice. Oops, nope, that didn't work. I want it to be as far away as I can. It's not completely easy because it's a diagonal. And when we zoom out, it's actually going to look better. But then we've got sort of this whole shiny area up here. And now I want to grab from that wall. So I'm going to make it smaller, even still. And if you wanted to, you could do it with numbers. That's better. Okay, so I'm going to target that. All right, so all right, I need to change how I'm targeting. A little smaller. So I'm gonna go high on this roof, on the side of this building. If I wanted to grab this line, well, I could just grab in here and make that line go away altogether, even though it's kind of real. And now I just need to bring something down here. And it's certainly not perfect, but if I go to 0, anybody, if you didn't know I painted that, you wouldn't know I painted it. It's not perfect cloning, but it's better than average. Okay, now the next one is actually harder. You want to see me do the next one. And what I want you to do is, for the activity, I want you guys to play with this. All right, you may not do it perfectly. Mafi mushkala, no worries there, okay? Because I don't expect you. I have a lot of years using a mouse with this, and so I have coordination. If I just want to zoom in, I can do Command+ on the keyboard. But you see, I'm going to lose my spot. If I want to zoom in on a specific spot, I just get the magnifying glass and I zoom in on the spot. I mean, the horrible thing about this is because it's a reflection, it's a perfect circle. Okay, so it's a perfect circle, and that makes it a little harder to deal with. So obviously, I'm going to grab the side of that wall up there. This is switch back to the cloning tool. That's a little too small. That makes it too much work. I'll go back up to brush size. Okay, this is that's a little too big. I wish I could shape the brush a little more, but I can't. So I'm going to target right there. So let me just do it that way first. I'm going to go back farther here for my target. See if I can create this line. And I've created the line. So let me grab some more of this building. Oops. So I went a little too far. I'm going to go back again to there. Let me go there somewhere. Try to grab it from a more random place. And part of the problem is that just that glass is so reflective of the light, it lightens up the whole side of this building. So I can darken it up. Now, it's really far from perfect. Like that helps. I want to lighten that up a little bit. There. That's me. So when we're looking close at it, we can absolutely see the different distances I've done and everything. But if we pull back away from it, there's no perfect circle, but that spot is still shining, right? It's still pretty disturbing. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is to grab that whole area and I'm gonna darken it up a little bit. Now, another tool I haven't introduced to you before is the lasso tool. Okay, so I'm gonna work with the polygon lasso. That's very easy. It helps draw straight lines. I love the fact that it has these little videos showing you exactly what the tool does. If we could look at, there are other lassos here. Okay, if it's this one, I'll roll it over. So that one is absolutely freehand. I don't know if you guys have really good mouse skills or trackpad skills, but to use the free lasso tool, you gotta have that down. Okay, that's not easy. We do, let's see, there's the polygon, which I showed you, and then there's this one, which is the magnetic, which is not always the best tool. What it does is automatically chooses a line of high contrast between dark and light. It has improved over the years, but I haven't used it in a while. I think I might try it right now just to see what it does for me. It's actually not useful in that situation. Okay, so another thing I can use is the magic wand. Okay, quick selection also uses the intelligence of the machine. So, okay, so instead of lassoing, we're going to zoom in. I am going to make, once again, I can make the brush smaller. Let's just see what it grabs. Oh, no, see, it's already grabbed too much. So I don't have huge options. So I'm going to go back to my original idea, which is I'm going to grab the polygon lasso tool. What you always want to remember on your keyboard is Command D. Command D deselects. Okay. And if you do Command A, it grabs everything. If you do Command D, it's going to deselect. Yeah, see, that's grabbed a little too much. So I'm going to Command D, and now I can use the lasso tool. So this whole area, this area needs to be darker. So I click there, and with the polygon, you only have to click on the corners, and I'm going to come here, go down, then I'm going to take my line. I think what I'll do is go there, there, and there, and there. We'll get in here, and then you can see it's grabbed that whole area. Now, remember that I was showing you using image adjustments on the entire picture. Well, now I'm going to use it just in this area that's selected. So now I'm going to go image adjustments, and I think I'll go with brightness and contrast. So I'll go brightness. Okay, and what I've now discovered pulling down the brightness is that super white spot that's part of the circle. So now we should be in a better position. I'll say, let's maybe lighten it up a touch. but it needs to be dark. That's good. Okay, and I'll deselect. Then I'm going to come back with the clone tool. Ooh, that's good. Oh man, that's going to be nice. Okay. And now when I pull back, okay, you can still see it still looks bright there. The other building you've totally forgotten about. Yeah, so that other circle. Well, so what I'm going to do is go back into it and just darken it up a bit to make it look. And I'm going to go back with the polygon lasso. Sorry. Whoops. Just image adjustments, brightness, contrast. It's not going to be a lot. I'm going to bring it down. And see, I've done these two. I'm going to do a second section now. And I've done the two sections because I don't know if I want to have them bring them down the same level. But I think that's going to improve that situation. So I'll say, okay, I'll do Command D. I'm going to grab, that's not great. I'm just, here, here, come down there. I'm actually going to go get this crazy chunk. Where is it? And we'll just go image, adjustment, brightness, contrast. Oh, dude. Now, part of the problem is we've been working there. I would probably paint up that driveway a little more if I wanted it to be totally perfect. But we now don't have two giant circle lights appearing. I do see an issue there, but I'm not going to go there. If I go, I'm going to do save as. Because remember, you don't want to destroy what you had before, but if I go now to demo, there it is. Okay, there it is with the light, with the two spots, and there, let's go. And we'll go to this one. So Okay, so that is one of the great things about Photoshop. That is what's a painting function. And by using, the point of using the cloning tool is you are using the exact colors and relationship between colors in the image already. So this is very much Photoshop stuff, sorry. Now, next one is, excuse me, is easier. So you can see here, it looks skewed. Doesn't it look skewed? Because in fact, and this one is, throws you off a little bit because in the mirror, the squares on the ground, I'm actually shooting straight up because the small squares, kind of the gray lavender, are actually aligned with the sides of the frame. But the major sections of the mirrors are not. So we have this huge black line that goes from there to there. So that, if you want something to look like it was photographed straight on, something, if you shoot up the side of a building, you can make it look like you were looking straight at it. And I'm going to show you how to do that. Now, one way to help you with this is to view is a new guide. So I'm going to do a vertical guide. And there it is. It's on the edge of the picture. And when I click, okay, wait. What the heck? Sorry, I got to get out of this tool. Okay. There we go. So what I can do is with this top tool, this is the move tool, okay? So what I did was I went to view, I made a new guide, then I'm in the move tool, it's vertical. We could probably use some horizontals, but then I have the move tool at the top here. I can grab these lines, I can put this near this side. So that one's not off a lot, but it's off, okay? If I bring this one, I can see definitely that it's messed up, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put either one of these at the starting point of that line. So what I'm gonna do is take the bottom and twist it out, and over there, I'm gonna need to pull the other side a little bit. And then we'll worry about the horizontal ones in a minute. Now, what I do is I do select all. You can do Command A, that'll work just fine. But now you can see the whole thing's in marquee, right? So since it's in marquee, that means that's what I'm gonna grab. And like I said, activity 9 is gonna involve you replicating what I'm doing. Yes, I'm recording, yeah, for sure. Yeah, there it is. There's the symbol. Okay, so it is in the green. So now in Photoshop, what I do is I go to Edit and Transform. And what I'm gonna grab here, I've got some different things I can do transformations. It will only transform what is selected, what is inside the blinking lights. Okay. So what I want to do to this image is I want to distort it. Whoops. So I'm going to choose distort. It's going to give me these handles. Does that look familiar? Okay, Illustrator and Photoshop working in similar ways. And I've got the guides to help me. So if we choose the simple one first, what I'm going to do is try to pull it as straight as I can. And I have to pull it down a little bit to get that black line aligned. That is now aligned with the edge of the frame, because that guide is a perfectly straight line. The edge of the frame is a perfectly straight line. All right, so I'm going to do the same over here, which is going to have a small effect over there. But this big line that is skew, so it is zooming in a bit. I am trying to stay aware of that other line. So I am on that guide. What I can do potentially here is, no, see, I can't do that because I don't have picture. So I'm gonna leave that guy right on that line. And then I'm gonna have to pull on this one just a little bit. We might not be able to make it perfect, but it's awfully close. Then when you're in this particular tool, you can do the check, or you can do Prohibe, which releases it, or I just double click. I'm gonna clear my guides, or I'll just clear my guides. And those lines are now, those lines are now very straight. I've stared at the picture, and that gives a more face-on squared feeling. So if there's, the thing is about any straight lines in an image. Now, it has thrown off the squares on the floor, which is kind of a bit of a problem, but at least you can see. Because there's two different sets of very straight lines, which is the set of the mirrors in the overhead thing. And it's actually, those mirrors are on an angle to begin with, but we have no context to know that. So I'm shooting a picture straight up. You can see I did shoot it pretty close to straight up before, because the squares on the ground were aligned very well. Okay, but because of the angle, the major lines, which are the black lines, and this might make some people more comfortable, etc. And I could even see trying to line those other lines a little better. So I can do another kind of transformation. So I'm going to select all. And this is why it's good to have a really deep picture with a lot of pixels if you're going to do much manipulation to it. We do edit. Let's see, transform. What do I got? What do I have? Okay, so I am going to go with scale. Let me just see. So this is scaling proportionally. Looks like it may have brought that black line back over here. So now it's actually even a little bit more comfortable, even though it's weird with the lines, but the lines are all straight, and without that line so close to the edge. Okay, so that's manipulation you can do in this picture. You can do it with any picture that's kind of off. If you want to make something look straighter, that's how you do it, is with those transformations. Okay, so this is, but see, now I've given myself a problem, haven't I? I have. I'm so disturbed now. Okay, I have to do Command A. I'm going to go back to edit. I'm going to go back to transformation. I'm going to distort. Actually, for fun, let's see what happens if I do skew. okay? Skew is probably better than distort. Okay, let's, not quite there. See, that's where having the guides helps. Yeah, I'm gonna put that one where it is, and then I'll just take it. And now that bottom line is straight. There, now it feels like the box is there. So I've used the different tools to get that done. That's why you have to play with it yourself. You're not going to be totally controlled. And I will definitely put this up as quickly as I can. The last one. So I'm going to save this. I'm going to save this file. I'm going to save it as something different. Now, in this third picture, what we've got here is a terribly gray image. All right. That is literally how the picture came out of my SLR. All right. And it's a little, there's a little bit more information over here on my computer screen than on the projection screen, but there, in every picture you take, there's actually a truckload of information that exists in that image. Even if it's underexposed, even if it's overexposed. That's why Photoshop can do what it does. Because it darkens, it intelligently darkens sometimes, it sort of overall does it other times, or it lightens and you discover things. Now, one of the ways to intelligently alter this image, when I did this, it was the first time I was playing with this particular tool. And I got really excited because I thought this picture was hopeless. Because frame-wise, it's nice. You've got the hill in the back. You've got all this stuff. And let's face it, I can't just drive to China and retake the picture on a better day, right? So the image adjustments, HDR toning. Okay. So let me take the preview off, and then we're going to do HDR tone. Now, it doesn't matter that much, but what HDR originally did was that it took you shot like 3 images. It was actually an in-camera thing. One underexposed, one properly exposed, one overexposed. And then you would bring the 3 together and all the information, and it creates something that's a lot more 3-dimensional. Okay? So when I put preview back on, immediately you're seeing more things. Those back clouds are actually, it looks gray here, and we don't get a lot of skies like this, but that just overwhelms any camera. Okay, so when I look at the edge glow, let's just see what I get. If I increase, not much there, it's a little something. Let's just see about, all right. All right, so there's, okay. So we can now look, we can take this one of exposure. And wow, it immediately skyrockets into grossness, right? So that's way overexposed. But if we tune it, fine tune it a bit more, we can find more ground. Let's see what, all of these things are about testing. Okay, not sure you want to change gamma much. It seems to really be grabbing the white. It's interesting. It made the whole, do you see that? It made the whole hill behind disappear with the gamma. Here, I'll go. So look to the right of the frame where there's this little bit of a blue haze. If I go back to 1, there, that's the distant hill return. Okay, so it's manipulating the data within the image. Then if I go to detail, detail is giving me some nice things it's grabbing. I bet you guys didn't even know there were little tiny yellow roofs down in the bottom of this picture. Okay, so what you do with HDR is you take this picture and then we can mess with shadows. Now what I'm doing is I'm lightening in the shadows. Holy mackerel. There's like totally trees down there. Okay, so let me just turn preview off again. You wouldn't have known the picture was there. The picture is there. So sometimes you can have a picture that doesn't seem quite right, and HDR is like the most powerful tool to find the picture that is really there. And its ultimate effect is it takes something that's flat and it gives it depth. So that's why you're messing with shadows. I could increase highlights. Let's see, is that doing? Okay, there, that also made that back mountain disappear. Okay, I can darken up highlights. That doesn't have a, oh wow, wait a second. That makes the sky more gray, but brings my hill into better relief right about there. Okay, now this control shows up in a number of places and it's relatively new, and that's vibrance, okay? Saturation is a ridiculous amount of additional color. Vibrance, I'm sure they got a definition somewhere, but it much more slowly brings up the color of the color. And it makes it more vibrant. It's like a traditional Emirati Kendora, ladies Kendora, right? That's what vibrance is. The total opposite of, okay? It's boom, it's out there with a lot of color. And then if you've got a whole lot of sparklies on it, that's vibrance. I'm guessing, not from knowledge, that's what a wedding dress is about, right? It's about bling, vibrance. We could call it the bling. But if we do vibrance, it increases some of the hints of color. The green becomes more green. But like if we did saturation, all right, that's kind of obnoxious, right? So you could add some more saturation because this is a little bankrupt of color, but vibrance then kicks it up in a more subtle way. It's a more subtle adjustment. I can show you some things with this curve, but I think right now that's just going to confuse you because everybody hates the math, I think, in the room. So, and the math is good to know because the math helps, but you can just mess with those sliders and you can find a whole new picture in there. Okay, and so let's just take a look again and bring it back. All right, I was so excited to find the picture. And actually, when I zoomed in, all right, so I'm going to go with this now. I'll just stick with it because I can undo it if I want. But even if I took the magnifying glass, I found out, look, Okay, if I mess with it more, and I've got other versions of the picture, I mean, look at that doorway. There's no way that was even close in this picture before, okay? That's what it looked like before. Okay. And there it pops out. I could actually open, let me just. There it is. No, I want the bigger one. There it is. Okay, wait, let me close that one, because that's the full-size dark one. Not completely understanding. Unfortunately, I'm not getting to it today, and I actually cut out the background, but I got to this visual on here, which actually we're not that far from it. The gray sky really spoils it. Here I put a blue sky behind it, but even if we go into here, the color on the white on the bricks, the fact that you can actually see through to the forest behind it, and that's HDR toning. So that's what that's about. I think I spent a good amount of time on that one when I started discovering how cool it was, what was in the image. So what I'm asking you to do for the weekend, I'm going to give you more time on number 8 because no one has posted it. And I doubt that's going to be the focus of the rest of your Thursday. Okay. And this, I'd like to have you guys have it done. It'll absolutely, I think it'll absolutely close on Monday night. So that gives you the weekend, you know, go out and see Death on the Nile and go out and see Uncharted, see if it's any good. And come home and spend some time, and really making all these things happen is really about playing with it and discovering what's possible. And with these basic kind of skills, we can go from there. Yeah. Okay. Well, is this a person in this class? I guess she is, because she's sitting there. Okay. Okay, probably you should tell me. Yeah, you're gonna say it to me in half a second. Can you wait just a minute?